story's never told unless you leave it with a legacy before you go. Your story's never told unless you leave it with a legacy before you go. Welcome to the game, welcome to the show, welcome to the pain, welcome to the pros, welcome to the grind. Your story's never told unless you leave it with a legacy before you go. Welcome to the show, welcome to the pain, welcome to the pros, welcome to the grind. ain't the same now. Lions coming out to play now. Opposition out the way now. Out of the way. You wasn't invited. Say you come to play. I dare you to try it. You don't wanna try me. Don't step up to my team. Yeah, out of the way. Yeah, yeah. Out of the way. Yeah, yeah. Out of the way. Game now, me and you, we ain't the same now. Lions coming out to play now. Opposition out the way now. Out of the way, you wasn't invited. Say you come to play. I dare you to try it. You don't wanna try me. Don't step up to my team. Yeah, out of the way. Yeah, yeah. Out of the way. Yeah, yeah. Out of the way.
Live from iRacing's virtual Dover Motor Speedway, we say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to round 9 of the 2023 Full Throttle Real Sim Racing Cup Series. Well, as always, we're happy that you're spending your Monday evening with us right here on RaceSpotTV for tonight's Monster Mile 200. Our producer Joshua Lee is downstairs, and alongside of myself, Evan Pasoko, I'm joined by Terry Radford in the RaceSpotTV booth tonight. And Terry, you guys are coming off of a couple of exciting weeks here on Monday nights. Talladega just a week ago, Bristol Dirt the week before that, and well, we returned to the short track side of things per se. I don't really think the Monster Mile is going to be much of a reprieve for these drivers.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say Bristol Dirt was too exciting, but Talladega sure was, and it always is. Dover, I think, is going to be fun. It'll be an interesting challenge to see who can actually go up here and tame it. I think the leader, whoever that may be, whether it's a 2-tire stop like we saw MTJ do today, or it's a 4-tire stop like what we saw Ross Chastain do, we'll see who puts the strategy out there to potentially get this done, but a lot of interesting storylines to follow.
There really are, and we take a look at where we sit on this 2023 calendar, and after tonight, that left side of the calendar cleared out, and we will come back in a couple of weeks' time for the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro, the longest race of the season. We'll follow that up from Charlotte Motor Speedway, and then we'll continue on into the summer months, inching closer and closer to that August 28th date back at the World Center of Racing, in which this regular season will conclude, and we will officially transition to playoff racing. And speaking of the playoffs, this is how the playoff standings look coming into this afternoon. Of course, Agnew Phillip, 2 wins at the very top of the board. Casto, Danson, Rodriguez, Colvin, Shaw, right now, playoff eligible wins have them at the top. But if you look over to the right-hand side, Staney and Winemaster right now, the battle on the bubble.
Yeah, and Winemaster, he wasn't here last week, I don't believe, so a little issue there where he slipped out, but Jason Staney worked his way in there. There's not a whole lot of separation all the way back to Brett Pancari. I mean, that's what 33 points separates them. So a couple bad races, 1 or 2 bad races for Staney, or those drivers above that cut line, we could see it instantly flip. Maybe somebody getting a win could flip it. We're in the time now where you kind of can already give a spoiler on who's going to win the race. It's not necessarily just a prediction anymore, in which my prediction tonight's Matt Danson, who literally put 0 practice in our session.
Danson's known for just going for the hot lap in the qualifying session and rolling. Of course, somebody with his level of experience may feel like he doesn't need the hour beforehand, because he probably has hundreds and realistically thousands of laps on this racetrack probably just, last month alone here on the service. But we watched some of the other drivers participating in qualifying now. New in Flores, one of the drivers out there on track. 37 cars qualifying for tonight's Monster Mile 200. So no drivers will be sent home in this one. But with those aggressive exits on turns 2 and 4, any contact with the outside wall would cancel out a qualifying lap. So drivers have to make sure they get at least one of their 2 laps in clean to post a spot on the board. And oh, that's not a clean one. Flores sideways and around. A little bit too much juice from the 88 car.
Looks like me in the PRL Xfinity Series race, just trying to get all you can get off the exit of the corners. There's Grant Davis in the number 24 Battle Beaver Chevy. We'll see if the old 24 car can go up there and put it up. And well, I think you're right. My pick, Matt Danson, to win this race goes up and slots in P3. Kostowitz and Phillip, top 2. We'll see where Grant Davis goes in there. It's not going to be inside the top 15. But, ninth. Wow. Late time to push to us. But, yeah, P9 there for the 24.
He'll slot into 9th. It's worth noting that we typically see a couple of drivers intentionally not take a time in qualifying. Certainly that was a big strategy element in last week's race at Talladega as we take a look at Andrew Freenosh with what looked like front-end damage on that car, but at least his clean lap puts him 5th on the board. Terry, I don't really suspect a lot of drivers are going to yield to taking a time into qualifying tonight, just because I feel like this is a racetrack where you're going to want to get the track position early and then protect it.
Yeah, you have to get time down here. I mean, this is one of the places that's hard to pass. I ran the Xfinity cars on PRL last week and didn't have the best qualifying run, and getting stuck in traffic really hurt me. I pushed tight, caught the wall, and there was nothing I could do about it. So you really want to be out front. The next-gen cars in itself, you need clean air. Dirty air does not necessarily suit well for them. I see the apple pie moonshine is on the 2 of Sam Nieto this time as he's going to practice pit entrance. We could potentially see a green flag run here for maybe all 200 laps.
It's a good point. A lot of drivers will use the end of their final lap in qualifying to test pit road entry, and this is a racetrack where that is certainly critical. It is one of the toughest pit road entries anywhere that the Full Throttle RealSimRacing Cup Series will go to this season. So it's certainly a good thing to practice. Last year's race here at Dover had 6 yellows for 22 laps, so it does leave open the possibility for this race having, as you mentioned, a green flag run long enough to require green flag service. If I was a betting man at they got the casino right over there off of turn number 3. If I was a betting man, I don't know if I'd put money on caution free all the way, but it would certainly pay out nice, I think.
I honestly, I would put me and say this could potentially go caution free. You see it quite a bit. I mean, I know there's a lot of drivers in the field that aren't necessarily going to tiptoe around Dover, but you see the race information down there with 200 laps with a fixed setup, no fast repairs. The 4 sets of tires is what really is going to be the big key. Its tires are going to outweigh the fuel in this race. With the 100% fuel capacity, we'll probably pit twice, but for tires, if the cautions fall at the right place, you're going to come down and potentially use all 4 sets. I don't expect to see anybody wanting to flip that strategy and stay out on 20-lap old tires because they're just going to get swallowed up real quick.
And with that, the qualifying session has drawn to a close. So let's get tonight's race underway and go down trackside and take a look at tonight's Get Wet Sports starting grid. Agnell Phillip is on pole position yet again, and to be joined by the Pure Sims Esports 02 of Spencer Kostowitz on the front row. Matt Danson and Andrew Phipps will make up the second row, with Andrew Freenosh and Sam Nieto your top 6.
Feel like they're to P number 7 with B. Harris, Bradley Burke, Grant Davis in 9th. Michael Araya rounds out your top 10 with Michael Johnson and Jaron Weinmaster 12th.
And looking up at 13th tonight goes to Ryan Dunkelberger, Ross Cato alongside in 14th on the outside row number 7. Thomas George will start tonight in 15th position. It's Alexander Light in 16th, Sean Casto 17th, and Joseph Tice P18.
William Smith will find himself in the 19th position with Kyle Trudell, P20. Steve Tucker, Eric Papanow will be there in 21st, 22nd with David Cobb and Eric Stanford rounding out top 24.
Nick Alford, Sean Kalis, Whitaker, Mara, Pooler, and Shaw through the rest of your top 30. It'll be Wolsifer, Flores, Major, Fetter, Place, Kaczynski, Durham, and the lone car on the final grid, Woodruff. Look at all 37 cars. Look at your Get Wet Sports starting grid. GetWetSports.com. It's the world's first digital content library that showcases and celebrates creators of all sizes and backgrounds, including iRacing, military gamers, and women in gaming. Getting listed is free. Find out more at GetWetSports.com and start on your content creation journey today. Lights out on top of the iRacing official pace car, 200 laps, 200 miles on deck tonight in the Monster Mile 200. It's round number 9 of this 2023 Full Throttle Real Sim Racing Cup Series. Pace cars down and in. Agno Phillip in search of race win number 3 of 2023. Lead the field off of 4, and we say, let's go racing at Dover. First couple of laps led in the book for Agno Phillip. Battle's going to be behind, and it's the 2 car on the move. Sam Nieto around Kostowitz in the 09 car, who slides down 3 from the start of this race already.
Yeah, he did not get the start he wanted on that outside lane. He ended up getting pushed up by Matt Danson and then put Freenage in there. Nieto gets a fender underneath him, and Kostowitz just settled in at 5th. He kind of cut over the nose of the 24 Raleigh Grant Davis, and that's where he's going to settle here. We'll see if the 24 of Davis can take the run. He will down the back straightaway underneath the bridge.
They go under the bridge and off to 3 and 4, and it's again going to be another spot lost for Spencer Kostowitz as Grant Davis able to clear for the number 5 spot. That is down 4 for Kostowitz. It is up 4 for Davis, who started 9th and runs in P5, but they're all chasing Agno Phillip, the man of the year so far. Here comes the 2 now as Nieto on the offensive to the inside of Freenage for 3rd.
Yeah, he'll get underneath the outside lane once it rubbers in. Once we start to get a little bit in there, you'll start to see that outside lane potentially start to work quite a bit. But for the moment, bottom side is dominant, and this is a whole lot better than the picks that we made last week at Talladega, where I was the only one who had a good finish. It's good to see that another pick is up here in the 24 of Davis.
Grant Davis, I think he's just due for one. Comes into tonight, top 10 in the championship standings without a race win. Pretty consistent driver. Why not? The 24 car tonight, and the Battle Beaver entry seems sporty as is. As again, he is up 4 positions to the number 5 spot and looking to get another one if he can get to Andrew Freenage. The only person inside of the top 6 who hasn't changed is, of course, Phillip, who continues to lead from pole position. But look how tight these cars are. You got the top 7 within 1 second of each other right now, 8 laps in.
Yeah, you talked about experience there in the opening part of this race, and that experience level with a lot of these drivers is what's going to make this race really good. You see it's become a conga line on the bottom. That's expected. Everybody's starting to see, okay, what is this car going to do? I know we raced here last season, but it has been a while since RSR has been back to Dover. It's been a full calendar year since we've raced around here. A lot of these drivers did official races this week, but it's a little bit different as there's an issue back there a little further on back off the exit of 2. Not going to bring out the yellow flag as you look at Kyle Trudell here in the first side-by-side battle. It looks to be Casto And I can't read the other one, the 99. David Cobb working his way up.
Yeah, they're right there in the midst of things, middle of the road. This is back just on the backside of the top 20 or so. You see that 52 car of Casto up on the outside. The number 19 of Eric Stanford making the move through on the bottom. The battle ends up being for 22nd and 23rd. Looks like cars on the outside aren't necessarily hung out to dry, Terry. Both the cars in that battle doing a good job of hanging with each other. And in fact, that 15 of Nick Alford up top now doing a pretty good job of not just getting steamrolled by the cars underneath him.
Yeah, it's going to be really important to see throughout this race is, can we get a second groove? Can we get a third groove going? If we can, the racing here will definitely be exciting. Hopefully it's not like the old Bristol days where you have to uproot them off the bottom. You look there, the 39 of Johnson. There's Ross Cato on our screen with the Atlanta Braves jersey behind him, as always. Smart guy to put a good team back there behind him. I know he's looking to come up here and do one spot better than he had at Talladega and potentially get P number 1. He's going to take a look here for 12th. He gets a peek underneath, but I don't think he's necessarily going to get the run he wants off the corner, and that mistakenly center off. He is gone.
Great run there as they go off the corner. It's going to allow the 12 car to clear as they drop back down the banking and off and into turns 1 and 2. Ross Cato up 2 on the night. So is Dunkelberger in front of him as the midfield starts to get single filed out just a little bit. Obviously, you can see how tight these cars are. It's going to be difficult to find separation early in these runs. And oh, there's a bit of a touch to the wall there. That leads into the point I was just about to mention, as they're side by side up front as they fight for top positions there. And it's going to be an attempted pass. Unable for Grant Davis to get a bonus. He'll tuck in line behind Freenage and try again, Terry. But what I was going to make is, I mean, this track's difficult enough on your own, let alone when you're in tight packs, 6 cars to, you know, a second interval and whatnot. I mean, this racetrack throws you down into the corners. You come up out of the banking as you come off of 2-4. We saw several cars spin in qualifying. I mean, on its own, Dover is a tough, tough racetrack to figure out.
Yeah, I turned quite a bit of laps in the Xfinity car, getting ready for the league race that I have. And I'll tell you now, I mean, I have never felt dumber. I'll just be honest. I've never felt as dumb as I felt trying not to burn the tires off of this thing. Like, you go down to the corner, and it's like a roller coaster. You go down there, and luckily I don't have a motion rig because I probably would have been seasick halfway through it. But you're tired after one of these races. I only did I think it was 120 laps. I couldn't imagine 200 with a heavier car, having to turn it as hard, having to shift every single lap, having to figure stuff like that out. But I ended up catching the wall. A tough break. I had a good run. I just lost it. But you have to be on edge here at all times. There's Gregory Skull. Looks like he's having an issue here. Went down to the apron, but if you slip out of the groove by an inch, this racetrack takes a mile. You'll go straight into the wall. You won't have an option of holding it. You have to be perfect every lap, minus it's getting on the brake, whether it's getting on the gas. And we'll take a look at what happened to the 66, who's last week's winner. And oh, that's Durham. They just made contact.
And we'll wind it back a little bit further and see how this started. Shaw was running way back in 34th, and there it is. It was an issue up the road for the 10 of Durham. Durham just got loose on his own, and he made contact with both Shaw and a little touch to Fetter Place. Shaw immediately came down pit road after the contact, stopped in pit road, and then resumed back out onto the racetrack. But the challenge for that is he's going to be 2 laps down in 37th position.
Well, he's got the win in the back pocket. I think that will definitely be the saving grace, is you can have runs like this, and we alluded to it last week on the broadcast, is you're either going to come out of Talladega really mad, or you're going to come out of Talladega really happy, knowing that the remainder of the schedule, as long as you stay inside the top 30, you're pretty much solid. You're solidified yourself into a playoff run. So it was good for him to go out there and capitalize on his opportunity in the 66 machine to get the win. And for a lot of other drivers, not necessarily the greatest term, as we look on board there with your favorite onboard shot with the Ohio State for Cody Harris. the 24 slipping a ton back here. Kosowicz just got around him in what looked like to be a very solid early portion of the run for Riley Grant Davis. It has not been the greatest for him so far.
It's not been the best so far in P5, where he runs right now. Just a little bit shy of where Ohio State came up in the CFB rankings. That got them into the college football playoff earlier this year at number 4. So he wants to improve to that number and is going to continue to march to the field as this race goes on. The 52 is going to get pushed up a tad bit there. You got the 09 diving down to the inside here into battle with the 2 car as Sam Nieto up on the outside of the racetrack. So Nieto all of a sudden trickling backwards after he made a lot of forward gains to start this race. He's found himself back in P6 where he began.
Just like the old college football rule, when forward progress stops, that's when we blow the whistle. His forward progress in P4, and now he's getting pushed back by the D-line quite a bit. And we'll see if maybe it was just he pushed too hard, and he'll have to regroup and re-solidify himself up here as a contender for this win. But Matt Danson's holding our leader pretty much at the on point. He's not letting him get away. He's holding him there. As you look at Carl Pooler, they were side by side for a second. Cato's trying to go under Dunkelberger. He's caught him finally. He's going to get around him for the 11th place position. And now it's a long hike all the way up to catch the 44, Michael Araya.
Yeah, big gap to the next car. Araya a full second up the road from Cato, who sits in the number 11 spot, and Braden Whitaker slow on the front straightaway. No yellows so far, but we've seen a couple of cars with issues. Whitaker the latest. Let's see what happened to the 48 car. He was slow on the front straightaway. We picked things up going down the back. Big pack of cars all around him. The 66, the 34, the 71. And as he comes off, right there, the 71 car, Carl Pooler, a little bit loose. Saves the race car, but it was at the expense of the 48 who had just gotten under him, and there's a pretty good lick left side into the inside wall for Whitaker.
It's always a good buffer that you have if you have a doorstop at the bottom. The doorstop just so happened to be Whitaker. But unfortunate break there for him, but a fortunate break for Pooler is he actually is not going to be too damaged. There's more contact there. There's Casto, there's Light, there's Tice behind him. The 79 of William Schmidt's in this. If we're going to get a caution, we're looking at it as Tice. Yep, there we go.
Across the road, and we do not get away with this one. A caution flag is out, and it was Nick Mara into the inside wall, who has some choice words over the radio. So he's not happy about how that one went down. And again, we were watching the battle. In front is where it started. The 8 car is going to get loose. I think there was a touch with the 52 right there, and then the 8 starts to lose the back end. He gets hit by the 5, and Mara is upset because I think he gets hit from behind by the 00. I think that was his point of frustration, and it was pretty gentle touch to the inside wall. I think Mara is going to be okay, but let's see the contact from behind.
Yeah, once you see smoke, the smartest thing to do is just not go into somebody in the back. And I mean, while that looks like innocent contact to the inside wall, but I mean, you listen here, barely lifted. I mean, you see the car coming down. You just got to be aware of your surroundings. I mean, I wasn't listening to the in-game chat, but I'm almost positive we won't be able to repeat what Steve Tucker said.
And also Nick Mara upset over the radio. Nick's not normally allowed one over driver radio, but it is going to be the first time down pit road tonight is under yellow flag conditions. Already 32 laps in. Agnell Phillip has led the way so far. He has the advantage of going all the way down to the number 1 pit stall. That's going to be an advantage for him, Terry. You talk about tires. Fuel just kind of the bonus here. It looks like they're all going for 4.
Yeah, I said I honestly think we're gonna push through those tires. That was a close race off of pit road with Agnell Phillip and Matt Danson. If the cautions fall at the right place at the right time, you're going to see them come down and put tires. But every 30 laps, you won't see that because then we're going to be out of tires rather quickly. So I would imagine that we'll kind of see this in a much different light. I mean, if we get a caution every 30 laps and we go all the way down, we'll be at lap 120 by the time we get that last caution. When they come down to pit, they'll have a good bit of laps to go before the race is over. You want to kind of space these out. Cautions breed cautions. So this could be a string of yellows after this one where they realize track position kind of sucked back there in the back.
And we'll see if that's going to be the case. Sean Casto has claimed responsibility for what started that incident, so he'll receive the end of the longest line penalty in addition to the single penalty point on his docket. He was currently scored in 20th position. Last car in the lead lap right now, 35th. So it is going to significantly add to his night. He had actually lost 3 spots from the start of the race, so things weren't going great for Sean Casto as is, but things are going to get a little bit worse. And not to bury the lead, Terry, but up front you're seeing not Agno Phillip. The double of Steve Tucker stays out. 32 lap old tires. He is going to be in control of the field as concurrently Matt Danson's begging him to not do it. The double O is going to be struggling on those tires, Terry, and it's going to be on the onus of everybody else to find a way safely on through as they use the advantage of fresh tires.
Yeah, and I like the paint scheme. I guess this is a good time, better than ever, to say it as him as the race leader, even though I highly question why he's staying out on those tires. He'll have fresh ones towards the end, but he's running this scheme for the month of May. Dedication to his grandfather's time in the Korean War. It was aboard the USS, I'm going to say this and I might butcher it, the Washoe County, in collaboration with the sponsor units and the Wounded Warrior Foundation. It is a very nice paint scheme. It's a good thing to run during the month of May. Memorial Day is right around the corner, right on top of the greatest day in racing that I will more than likely be glued to my couch all day long and get on my wife's nerves quite a bit. But taking the outside lane was smart here because that puts the 2 faster guys down on the bottom and allows them to kind of go about their day.
But I'll say, who says that advertising in the sim doesn't work, Terry? Because I think when we're done post-race here, I'm going to get a unit's quote with the move coming up. So good to see them on the car. Good to see him as well running a special paint scheme here for the month of May. So you never know. Put your logo on a race car here in the Full Throttle RealSimRacing Cup Series. You never know what audience you're going to reach. He'll be on the outside. He will be the control car. As the pace car heads down and in, he has to wait for the restart zone to initiate the restart of this race. The 94, half a car length back, watches along for the inside. Green flag in the air. Tucker gets the first jump, but he just can't get through the gears. And here comes Agno Phillip. He'll bow down to the inside. Already back to the race lead. 3 wide as both Danson and Freenosh get through as well.
Well, he was further in the back as there looks like there's about to be a caution on this field. And yeah, there it is. That is a lot of drivers. There's Whitaker again. There's Sean Kalis got involved. Carl Pooler looks like he's involved back there as well. That's a lot more damage than what we saw earlier out of that 48 machine, but it all triggered coming off the exit of turn number 2. I kind of saw it in my peripheral up there. We had the shot. It looks like maybe somebody Carl Pooler just got loose and then overcorrected it. Hard in the wall he goes, and good wreck avoidance for the rest of the drivers behind him. But that was a ton of a hit for a couple of them.
You can see it gets a little bit sideways, gets out of the gas, but it's just going to snap up the hill. And Carl obviously apologetic over the radio. He will also claim responsibility for the accident, but you can see he's trying to give it a little bit of wheel input, and the second that thing starts to go back to the right, it's just so tricky. And you can see that damage model at work for the, I think it was the 48 might have got the front end taken off of the car. 43 doesn't look all that too bad, all things considered, but a quick second yellow in this race will have us pace through the lap number 40 marker. I believe, was it Pooler that we had seen, Terry, get sideways a little bit earlier and get away with one there? So I think the 71 really struggled with the handling, and it goes back to the point we made earlier tonight about how tricky the corner exits will be here.
Yeah, he got loose a little earlier, and that's what surprisingly enough, almost triggered our first caution. If it didn't trigger the first caution, saw a couple drivers go to the inside wall and make contact. But Yeah, the cautions part is what kind of concerns me here. Is you pack these cars close together, the outside lane is going to try to pinch the inside lane down in the corners. Right when we got off the exit of 2, it looks like Carl maybe just touched the apron ever so slightly, and that kind of triggered everything back up. But for Steve Tucker, he fell from the lead all the way to 8th, dropped 7, but he's a net gain at the moment plus like 25, so he actually had a pretty decent jump. These caution laps are doing nothing but helping him here. If we get another maybe 5, maybe 10-ish lap run, and he's able to hold serve in the top 15 to get a caution, he comes down and pits. He might have an opportunity to drive through this field and maybe salvage a little bit of the issues that he had earlier.
So carpooler will take the end of the longest line. A penalty, not an effect here because he comes down to the pit lane for service along with Kalis, Flores, Pooler, Whitaker, Shaw, and Kuczynski. So drivers at the end of the field gonna come down, might as well get some fuel, see if you can maybe get yourself on a bit of a different strategy as everybody else, get a little bit extra in the tank. And I know it messes up, the stats for Agnew Phillip because for all intents and purposes he's led every lap, but Tucker led 3 under the yellow. Phillip got quickly back out front, and now it'll be an opportunity for Danson, Freenach to see how they stack up against Phillip. They had kept him pretty much in touch for that entire opening 25-lap run, but didn't seem to, make a move at the 94 per se. Curious if that'll continue, if they can get some more green flag laps in.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we actually get just maybe 10 or 15 laps in. If we don't, then it'll be I think it might turn into a crapshoot after that. But I don't know. I like to see these names that are up here in the top 5, though. I mean, you got Phillip, Danson, Freenach, Harris, and Davis, kind of the suspects that we thought would be up here contending for the win a little while or earlier before we went on air. But I'm just curious, though, can we get a good green flag run like we saw the Open in 34 laps?
Yeah, we'll see if we have the opportunity to get that in once more. Long yellow flag cycles as well here at the Dover Motor Speedway, but we're going to be going back green this time by. We'll put 39 behind us, 161 laps to go. Again, your top 5, Phillip, Danson, Freenach, Harris, and Davis. All those cars started this race inside of the top 10. Your biggest mover in the field tonight, up 13 spots right now. Steve Tucker started 21st. He will be on the outside around number 4 and 8th for the restart. Pace car down and in. Agnew Phillip going to choose the inside. It's his field to control as they look for the green flag.
Yeah, they get to the Geico restart zone. Green flag's back in the air, and there's a massive wheel spin from the 00 of Steve Tucker. He just did not get going. That checked everybody up. 7th on back on the outside as 4-time Andrew Freenach is going to look low on Matt Danson. Danson will try to figure it out, and we almost went 3 wide there. Jaron Weinmaster does not want to be trapped behind that 00 anymore or any longer than he has to, as it's side by side for 2nd, side by side for 4th, and they're wrecking in the back.
Richard Wolsifer on his own, who's going to try to straighten it back out. He kind of slid down that front pit stretch wall. No yellow, though. Things will stay green. He's going to drop all the way to the rear on his own. Let's see what happened to the 56. Was it another single car spin? He's got a car up top, so yeah, it feels like he's pitched down a little bit, just a tad too much wheel. And look at this. Right there is where I thought it was going to get ugly. Thought he was coming back up the hill, but he locked up the brakes and actually did a really good job of making sure that wasn't worse.
Yeah, it was a really good save there. And I believe, I don't want to misspeak, but I'm almost positive that he made his broadcasting debut Friday night for OMA, a new league that came over into the iRacing spectrum after COVID just a little while ago, and came from Xbox and the NASCAR Heat model. They've been running for a long time over there with VRS and then the main series. But him and Alexander Light, two broadcast guys that are in here in the field. Very, very talented broadcaster Alexander Light is. I was very happy to have. I'm not going to say I was the one who brought him into broadcasting, especially on a bigger scale, but I met him at the Coke 600 virtually on here. He commented in the chat. We brought him over, and very, very, very good voice that young man has.
Well, that's good because as I outed myself on Twitter a couple of days ago, when I started, I was very, very, very not good. So if you can start and be pretty good, it's a good sign for you. I had the advantage of I was like one of 6 people doing it in the game at the time, so it was, you know, a little bit of a smaller pool. People were kind of stuck with me. So good for him, and there's so many opportunities these days to get involved in the space for both him, Terry, and anybody else watching. It's a lot of fun no matter where you end up calling races. Really a great thing to do here on the service.
Yeah, I mean, I've only been doing this for 2 years, and I mean, look at me now. I mean, 2 years ago, I made my broadcast debut with you on Podium Esports just as a joke. I didn't think I would actually, you know, for iRacing, like official good broadcast production. I had produced my own stuff, but you know, almost to the a year and a half mark with you for the Retro 500 qualifying races. And look at me now. I'm the voice of the Carolina Pro Lane Late Model Series and Carolina Crate Mod Series. Who would have thunk that years go by and we're still having a good time doing it. RSR never seems to disappoint. But we had a change up there for second as Andrew Freenosh slides back down to third. Matt Danson's got a hot rod. Him and Agnell Phillip are clearly the 2 best cars right here at the moment. As you take a look there, drivers fighting for position. There's to be David Kolb getting past or Michael Johnson for the 13th position. Slides him up 1 spot. This track's definitely challenging.
We talk about David Kolb as well. How about his race win from the Rough and Tough'em? Maybe that's a good way to describe the Bristol Dirt Race. From a couple of weeks ago, David Kolb found himself in victory lane. It was Gregory Schall a week ago at Talladega. So some new faces finding success here on Monday nights. The top 2 up front, though, no strangers. Agnell Phillip and Matt Danson continue to battle for the #1 position. Of course, Agnell Phillip, the defending Cup Series champion. Danson still looking to add that to his resume.
Yeah, there was a ton of wrecks at Bristol, but it was very good to see the 99 get the victory. It was also good last week to see the 66 get a victory, to put some fresh faces in the playoffs. And I don't want to come off as smug or rude. I don't think they're going to make it past the first round in the playoffs, but it's good to put new people into the playoffs. You start to create a diversity of people up there that, you know, potentially could shake things up. We could see a couple drivers that we predict to go all the way to the championship 4, have some issues, slide them out of that round, move some drivers in that could mix this up quite a bit. These 2 right here are, in my opinion, locks to go to the championship 4, with Agnell Phillip going for his 3rd win on the season, and Matt Danson, my championship pick. I think he will win the championship this year in that 38 machine. He's looking for win #1, and that kind of surprises me too, is that he's not found victory lane yet. He's had some very bad luck, but started to turn it around just a little bit.
Yeah, Danson, Phillip, always expected to be there. Of course, Andrew Freenosh on a limited schedule may not be able to qualify based on those criteria. Andrew's been able to give us time, join us in the booth over the course of the season, which has been a lot of fun as well. But, you know, I wouldn't be shocked if what we're looking at right now, Agnell Phillip being chased by Danson, is, you know, what we're seeing at about this time on November the 6th later this year when we go racing in that Phoenix finale. I mean, these 2 drivers, I think we expect them to be there, and concurrently they expect themselves to be there as well, fighting for the Full Throttle Cup Championship in 2023. They've been able to pull away, though, from everybody else. We didn't see that in the earlier run. You see these other battles going on. The 20 of Freenosh under fire is Cody Harris going to go under him. This battle here, almost 2 full seconds now off of the race leaders. Harris can't get back into the gas, pinched down low, and Freenosh shakes him for now.
Yeah, this is no surprise to see the 28 of Cody Harris having a good run at a concrete track. His first win came at Bristol in RSR competition to similar tracks when it comes to the concrete side of things, but not similar when it comes to the way that they race. Bristol has 2 distinct grooves. The outside lane normally is predominant, especially with the scan on iRace, and the low lane not so much, but you can make it work. But here at Dover, the bottom lane here is really where it goes. It single files itself out. You wait for the driver to make a mistake. It's not always the easiest to find a 4-time champion to make a mistake, but kind of not having the pace that I thought that he would have. While he is sitting third, 2 seconds puts him off the race lead, which either tells me that A, the competition got really, really good, really, really fast, or maybe Andrew Freenosh is just going, I'll sit back here, calm my jets, do what I normally do, and I'll see you drivers when we get to when the pay window opens and we get about 30 laps to go.
In this green flag run now, 28 some odd laps into the works, already about 1/3 of the way through this Monster Mile 200. Race leaders still well and far out from everybody else. You can see Philippa Danson working around lap traffic. Carl Pooler will fall a lap down in 35th position. Richard Wolsifer is also a lap down 36th. Mike Kaczynski -3 in 37th, but that still leaves us with a hearty 34 cars on the lead lap. This ain't a small track, Terry, but it also certainly ain't a big one. And as the green flag runs get longer and longer, you'll start to see a little bit more of that traffic interact with the leaders. There's another one, but that's a pretty easy yield as Shaw dives to the inside, waves them on by, and from 34th, he'll fall a lap down just as a yellow comes out. Alexander Light sideways in turn number 3. And that'll be our 3rd yellow of the afternoon.
And I think he's done. I think he's decided to get out and call it a day as we take a look at what happened. I'm not gonna, oh, no wonder why he got out. That's a lot of contact. And it's hard to steer it as then. Oh, that was a big miss. But what a hit there. That I'm not gonna say the word of what that was, but that was a lot of it.
The onboard's going to tell the story. You'll get the first contact as they come off of turn 2. That's what gets him out of shape. Let's see. Not a lot of counter steer. He gets hit from above, but then right here when he gets back onto the throttle, that's the problem there.
Yeah, he went to get back on it in 5th gear, and it just took him. It just sent him right up in the wall, back in, just kicked around. That's hard contact, but Agnell Phillip, only driver to come in there.
Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising. The rest of the field decides to stay out, but he's on the trend right at the moment. We went 29 green flag laps on that set of tires. We had a couple caution laps in there, but that's a bit surprising because by the time he gets all the way back up, once he gets all the way back up from what would be the 29th position, would put him, that's going to put him on some old tires, and he's going to have a lot of speed out of them.
Yeah, the tricky thing, obviously, which doesn't always play a factor in these 50% races, but I think tonight is the 4 tire sets that'll be available to these drivers, right? I mean, you talk about they're going to want tires sooner than they're going to want fuel. I think this is mainly a call by everybody else thinking, I don't want to burn my second of 4 sets of tires shy of halfway. So they want to have them for later in the run. Agnell Phillip, it would be ideal for the 94 if what happens next is a long run, because he'd have the ability to use the fresh tires to pick his way through. But everybody else, I think, wary to burn set number 2 of 4.
Yeah, and I'm not going to question his strategy. I think his strategy is perfect, but it has to stay green. I mean, that's going to be the crappy part of this is if we burn another 30 laps, right? Because the trend we've got at the moment is every 30 to 32 laps we're throwing a caution for something, whether it's an incident on the racetrack or just something random could happen and we could see a caution. We're not getting quick caution type style runs. If we get a green flag, it's 30-ish laps. If that trend is the same, he'll kind of be where we saw Steve Tucker at. Well, he'll have to stay out to just kind of protect that next set of tires. He's going to lose every bit of the track position he gains, because if he pits one more time, that leaves him with one set. Everybody else will have two, and then it'll be a kind of hope and see if the race doesn't stay green, he's SOL.
Let's see if the lights go out on top of the pace car this time by. They do. And it's going to be under the yellow. It's already happened 3 times now, but Danson's first opportunity to lead some laps here from Dover. Freenosh, Harris, Kostowitz, Davis, the top 5. Now remember, it was Danson and Phillip running far ahead from everybody else. Freenosh wasn't able to keep with them, so this could be a great opportunity, Terry, for us to see the 38 just check right out.
Yeah, my worry with the 94 is all of the trouble has been in the back. It's been 20th on back. We've seen all of our issues so far. Does he get collected in said issues? He's on the outside lane, kind of in a good spot to get away from it, but everybody's kind of counter steered into the wall up in the high side. Can he chastain his way to the front of the third line, or does he get held up in traffic and get caught up in an incident?
Pace car off and in. Agnew Phillip has led every green flag lap to this point, but tonight, now he restarts 28th. Up front, it's Danson and Freenosh. Green flag in the air.
Textbook start by Matt Danson as Freenosh kind of got caught napping a little bit. I mean, I know he's an old man. Just didn't think he would be in his rocking chair taking a nap on the restart. He let Matt Danson just check out and go, and Kostowitz, he gets around Cody Harris on the outside and just slides right in front of him. That's kind of I wouldn't say that's a disrespectful move, but that's definitely how you disrespect somebody. Just go right across the nose and just park it there. Made Cody Harris check up as it's 2x2 all the way outside of this top 10.
You can see the side-by-side action with the 25 on the inside there. It's back in the midfield. Race leader is a little bit more single file than the congregate here. You've got the 79 up on the outside of the racetrack, and then now the battle for the #1 spot as Freenosh from out of nowhere goes to the inside and clears Matt Danson. Freenosh to the point, but for how long? Danson goes right back underneath.
Did we have that on our bingo card before the caution came out that Freenosh was going to come up here and take the race lead this early? I said it before. Maybe he was just waiting for the opportunity. I mean, you see it in wrestling all the time with the rated R superstar of Edge, who just, pounces on the opportunity to go up there and figure it out. Andrew Freenosh maybe he was just going, hey, I just want to ride for a little bit now that he sees the golden opportunity, like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. He just jumps out there, takes this race lead, and he's pulled away to a tune of 3/10.
Yeah, I thought it would be the Freenosh machine watching Danson run away, but apparently incorrect. It's the other way around. It's the multi-time champ, greatest who's ever done it, Andrew Freenosh, to the race lead of 4/10 and counting, and Danson not in a good spot right now because he's got more trouble. How about Spencer Kostowicz? Started this race in second, dropped back very early on, but he has driven his back way to second. Harris goes to third. Davis goes to fourth. It is never ending for Danson. Lariah now takes away P5. And by the time Sam Nieto's done with him, Matt Danson is going to go from the race lead to P7.
I think the track has changed quite a bit here. I mean, the sun's finally started to come out. The track's starting to rubber in. We're up to 104-degree track temp. There's the 19 of Eric Stanford. He's going to pull down. And looks like he had some issues, but the track has increased in heat. The wind has also picked up. I know that's going to cause a big issue here as well. It just kind of caught some issues. You take a look at what happened to the 19 as maybe he got a little assistance here. Loose, bam. And what I tell you, right in front of Agnell Phillip, that could have been catastrophic for the two-time winner this season.
Well, that's the risk you take when you're Agnell Phillip. This strategy call is not simply, I'm going to go back in traffic for tire conservation purposes. It also includes you're going back in traffic wherever the incident's been tonight, midfield. Agnell lucky to avoid that one. Right now he sits in 17th spot, making an aggressive move, slicing down to the left-hand side to get around Jaron Winemaster, give him 16th.
Yeah, and he's had a lot of drivers in front of him that has struggled with handling all race long. I mean, you see it there. They're not afraid to make the moves. They're not afraid to poke it underneath you when they're not necessarily there. You have to be aggressive but patient. And a lot of drivers in the patient category hasn't necessarily seen it. Cato moves out of the way. He understands that you don't get paid on lap 77. You get paid on lap 200. But obviously on fresher tires, he's able to come through this field pretty quick. Casto's got fresh tires as well. He pitted on the same lap. He's just following Agnell Phillip all the way through this field. But I'm still curious, what in the heck happened to Danson? I know he cannot be saving this hard.
Yeah, we will have to wait and see what the end game is here for Danson. It's almost like the team on pit road accidentally gave him a set of scuffs, but fortunately can't do that on the sim. So the question is, what is wrong with Danson? Bradley Burke on his bumper in P8 going to try to give him the same treatment and continue to knock him further and further down. You can see Danson foreground of the screen right there, not that far behind him. This battle, the 52 car and a company, Old Dyson it up around 12th position. Casto and George in the mix there, just in front of them. Agnell Phillips forward charge continues, and Phillips going to have caught Danson not too long from now.
Hey, that'll be a massive flip in this race because we just automatically assumed that it would be the 38 and the 94 fighting for this win. But here before long, if the 52 of Casto can stay on the back bumper of the 94, we could potentially be talking about Cato or Casto winning another race. That could be it could be a real possibility on this season. But maybe Matt Danson had to go potty and had somebody else sit on his rig for a little bit and just kind of conserved him back to a position where he wasn't in danger no more. Maybe fighting for the lead wasn't their favorite thing, but that's all speculation. Maybe he'll tell us if he gets top three, if maybe he took an X-Lax or something.
Yeah, when I was over at his place in the fall, his little one was a little bit too young, I think, to handle the pedals. So I think I can cross that off the list, but maybe found a neighbor or something to hog a couple laps, whatever. He seemed to have kind of, righted the ship, relatively speaking, but I mean, Burke still got around him. He's 8th. Agnell's about to pass him. So whatever the issue is with Danson, I don't think it's completely resolved at this point. As you go on board with Agnell Phillip, dropped all the way back into the high 20s when he was the only car to come down and pit from up front. Well, both he and Sean Casto, Gregory Shaw, all pitted with him. They ride right now in 9th, 10th, and 14th position. And there's the move on the inside as Agnell Phillip going to go underneath the once upon a time race leader. The 52 of Casto will follow suit. And Agnell Phillip's charge to the front of the field continues. His last lap was a 23.116. Not quite as fast as the leader, though. So how far up the board can he get before he stalls out?
We'll find out momentarily, but I think this is what Nolan and Dylan felt last week at Talladega when their picks were starting to slack off just a little bit. And my pick was charging through the field. So I don't like this, that your pick of the 24 machine up there in 5th is doing great, and mine's all the way back in 10th. So come on, dancing. I picked you for a reason. I want to keep at the top of the throne here every single week. I feel like I make really good picks, and plus I want the first selection for next week. As Philip goes around for the 6th place position, there's our leader, starting to get kind of tracked in just a little bit by Kosowitz for the lead. It was about 4 to 5 car lengths. Now it's about a car length and a half. Puts those two separated from each other, but it's a long distance of about a second all the way back to Cody Harris, and a second and a half or more all the way back to Sam Nieto. But don't look now. Philip is making a run for it. He's definitely there. I mean, he's got a 23.8 on the board. It was a 24 flat for Freenage, so about 0.2 faster.
Now that he's been able to get a little bit of a pocket between positions, able to make up more ground each time around, let's jump back to 15th spot. Ross Cato in this battle, giving us his perspective as always. One of the unique things what we see with Ross, of course, the driving gloves, but the Formula style open wheel on the desk for him, not the stock car style. So when you're really cranking the corners, it does make it a little bit different. Because you can't really go hand over hand on that quite as easily. But again, all of that comes down to driver preference. You'll almost guaranteed to never see two identical sim setups. They're kind of like fingerprints, right? They're all different and unique in their own way as drivers kind of build those home cockpits to their comforts.
Well, I tell you what he really needs. He needs a Logitech wheel and pedal set, because it is the official wheel and pedal set of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. But who am I? Just a biased person, and I prefer my Coke Zero and my Logitech G, all the products here. But I'm sure Andrew Freenage would prefer a nice 4 set of tires, because we're about to hit lap 60 on this set here. I would imagine that once Agnell Phillip catches, we'll start to trickle in some green flag pit stops. If that is on their board, that'll put them at about 70-ish laps here on this tank when we hit halfway. So that'll be a very interesting task if maybe they want to split it that way and then go one more pit stop with about 40 to go would be my strategy.
We'll see what they decide on as the racing continues. You're watching Andrew Freenage, the winningest driver in RealSimRacing Cup Series history, with a race win total of 46 in 205 starts, holding off right now for the moment the 09 of Spencer Kostowitz. I mean, what an opportunity this could be for Kostowitz if he's able to challenge. I mean, I think it's an accomplishment enough of just hanging with Freenage. You got the GOAT, right? Best of all time here on a Monday night, and then you got Kostowitz making his 6th start.
Yeah, I'd say that. I mean, you got the GOAT in the booth, the baby GOAT, the GOAT on the racetrack, and then you got the GOAT in waiting with the 94 of Agnell Phillip. I don't think it would be too far of a stretch to say that he might be a 2-time champion come November, as the caution flag comes out, and this played absolutely perfectly. And by the way, lap 32. So our trend continues of the 30 laps puts on the board, and then we get a caution flag waves, and this time it's Brandon Fetter place. I think he might have got help here. Oh, he got big help.
And the touch was coming off of turn number 2. Car to his outside was Minazzi Major, and Minazzi was still there, and I don't know if Fetter Place had thought he had cleared him, but kind of drove up and, yeah, kind of aided himself around off the nose of the 82.
Yeah, but now here we go with an interesting piece, because I said that if you're Agnell Phillip, why, yes, you wanted to see this caution. You did not want to see this caution at the same time, because now you only have one set of tires remaining, and that has to last you the remainder of this race. So if we get, say we get a yellow in another 25 laps, if he has to stay out, everybody else could pit. And if I was the field, that's exactly what I would do. So if they're listening, we get a caution 25 to 30 laps. He has to stay out and play the gamble that another caution will precede that. Because if he pits with the field and the caution comes out in the same time that I'm saying, then he's kind of in a boat on his own, because he won't be able to pit at all, and then everybody else have fresh tires. He's going to lose the track position one way or another. So I would rather lose it early if we get the caution and everybody pits, just fake them and stay out, and then save that last set of tires to the very, very end and see if you're fast enough to work your way up through here on equal playing field. But this is Eric Papinow's taking that strategy. I don't know how many sets he has remaining, but he's taken the stay out and pull the Steve Tucker approach.
Yeah, the numbers also show that he has been down pit road twice already, so he wants to keep 2 additional sets of tires available. But no, just as we say that, he comes back down, so he's going to make pit stop number 3. That could mean, again, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that he did a 4-tire stop the last time he was down, but that would, I feel like, is what is implied by that. So a little bit risky for him, but obviously in a position where you don't want to stay out getting eaten up. And I think the interesting one really is, as you mentioned, Agonal Phillip, because we saw the positive impact. He needed it, I think, to go longer, though, green. Sure, he ends up back where he was. He's on a net, playing field as everybody, but he accomplished nothing, Terry, right? He was up front, leading.
Lost it.
Yeah, he was leading in the race, burned 4 tires. Now he's 3rd. So you paid 4 tires to lose 2 spots in the end, right? So that's why I think that yellow was too quick for him, and I think he's going to be in trouble. He's really going to need this race to go green. 4 yellows in the opening half. If there's 4 yellows in the second half, he is in a tough spot.
Yeah, I can't say the word that I want to say that he will be if this race continues the trend that it's on, because I go back to the point that I made on lap 60 is, if we get a caution every 30 laps, in which the trend it's pointing in that direction, that every 30 we put it out, he would have had to stay out just like the other drivers did. They went they pitted on the first caution, and then they went, the second caution they didn't pit, and then or they pitted on 30, didn't pit on 60, and then they pit on 90. He is going to need to stretch those tires all the way out for 2 cycles to get back on a playing field with the rest of this field if the 30 laps goes. Or he's going to need this to go all the way until everybody else decides to pit, in which, fine, he works out great. But if he pits there and we get a late race caution with maybe 20 laps on those tires, he's stuck. He's in a lake of his own. He can't pit. I mean, I don't think he's going to win this race unless we stay green to the end.
And another added element to everything under the yellow here is that nobody claiming responsibility for the last incident. So that one will go, for the first time tonight, to a post-race review. Lights out on top of the pace car, though. Let's see what Andrew Freenosh can do on the defensive. It's him and Kostowitz on the front row. Agonal Phillip eager to be back into the party. He sits in 3rd. Green flag back in the air with 101 laps to go.
And I can continue on this 94 ideas. He's going to have to be conservative to a fault here on this run. He doesn't necessarily need to push those tires as hard as he can, because he does need to save these. This set will definitely be either this set or next set has to be a save conservation type style on them. So kind of ride there in second. Don't necessarily burn them up too much. You got a whole half of the race. You got 100 laps to burn 1 more set. Everybody else has 2 in the back pocket. It's Freenosh pulls a 0.3 of a second lead, and everybody else starting to hound in the back, starting to funnel down to the bottom. This That's a crazy strategy, but it might work out if we can just keep it green to the end.
We'll see if it can stay green to the end of this race. Still a long way to go. Now we are halfway home in the Monster Mile 209th race of this 2023 Full Throttle Real Sim Racing Cup Series. Lap-led leaders so far tonight. Agnell Phillip has led 59. Andrew Freenach, your current race leader, has led 33. Danson leading 6. Steve Tucker has led 3. And Eric Papineau has led 1. Interestingly enough, 4 of the 5 drivers who have led laps tonight are in the red compared to where they started this race from. So, been a nights of ups and downs. As you can see, the 24 at Davis, my pick on the night, trying to make the move on Cody Harris. Got him on the inside. It's the highest now that Davis has been tonight, and he wants more, looking to the inside of Kostowitz.
Yeah, I think he is very, very good on the short run, but once we get into the latter parts of it, about 10, 15, 20 laps, though, as Kostowitz catches the wall there, don't know if that was assisted or maybe he just got on the throttle too quick trying to hold that outside lane and rip it like a conveyor belt, but into the wall he goes. That's going to lose him a couple spots. He's going to fall back to 5th, and then he'll be under attack there from Casto here in just a little while. They're about a tune of a 10th behind each other, but Agnell Phillip patiently riding, not being too aggressive, and I think it'll fall into the wheelhouse of Davis in the 24 as he is willing to go burn 2 more sets of tires, because if we get a short run to the finish, I wouldn't count the 24 out.
A lot of players just sticking close and hanging around to be a factor. Kostowitz passed up by Harris, wants it back now. He'll go down to the inside and make it a fight for 4th. Nice and clean. Puts a button on it. He is through.
Yeah, he gets the spot here, and doesn't look like the damage that he sustained there to that wall did a whole lot. He gets right around Davis again. And now there's the battle for the lead. Agnell Phillip takes it. Freenach looked like he was very happy to kind of pull around and let the 94 go, not necessarily wanting to fight it, as Sam Nieto's working his way up there into the 7th place position. The 66, last week's winner, who had issues, he's working his way now into 7th. And outside lane might actually start to play dividends here, as that was one of the first passes we've seen of the 66 getting around the 2.
And the outside's been able to hang within reason all night, but you mentioned, does it go from 1 to 2, 2 to 3 lanes? How do those options grow over the course of the race? Seems like they're at least headed in the right direction. Look at the tightly confined battle for 9th position as Danson is under the 2. Danson seems to have his pace back. Terry now, it won't matter. Yellow flag out, a quick one. This time, there's 2 cars. Nick Alfred's around and the 10 of Durham around. So 2 cars in turn number 3. My guess is at some point they hit each other.
Pretty good assumption. If we were in the casino up, I think we might have hit jackpot on that one. We'll take a look though. That might be the no. Oh, he caught Tice. That would be the 2nd time that we've seen Mara in that 40 machine kind of put the chrome horn to somebody and tell him to get out of the way. 15 got kind of shipped there, and we barely tapped the wall, but no damage to the back of it. And then the 10 catches there. I mean, you'll see it here. Just got on the 40. He got loose, and the 40 just didn't lift. Didn't care, and then the 10 makes contact with the 5. Around he goes. Heavy contact to the wall. But let's set up an interesting strategy for a sec. Because this, if you're somebody who has not necessarily been up, I would say up near the front for quite a bit, why not pit here? Why not burn a set and put yourself in a position? Because we've seen that you could drive through the field. pretty easily on even 10 lap fresher tires than the rest of the field. Why not take the risk? Only 2 took it, the 88 and the 5, but it would have been a pretty decent wrench in the hands.
Yeah, they're going to come down. They're going to end up 30th position for Flores, the 88, the 5 of Tice, 31st. Wolsifer down, Tucker, Papanow, a couple of other cars, but no big shakeup at the front of the field. And again, no real question for the likes of Bagnell Phillip if you could take it, because you have to make the next set of tires last to the distance. So he's going to try to get at least to the 150 range. And what would really benefit Phillip now is another one of those 30-lap runs, right? Get to 50, everybody else probably get a pit, and then you need another green flag run to the end. I mean, he needs this thing to spread some wings and fly for a little bit. Freenosh, Kostowitz right there with him, not going to make his life easy either, so it's not like the 94 can save too much unless he just totally bows out of the battle up front.
Yeah, he needs to be a peacock and spread his wings here, because if he doesn't, and if this race plays out in a way where we see a 30-lap run get us to 50, and then we see another 30-lap run get us to 20 laps to go, either way, he's kind of, I would say, picked the wrong strategy to go with. Hindsight's 2020. We're looking at it from a scope from the outside, and I'm not claiming to be the smartest man, because I think everybody who watches knows that I'm a dumbass. But if we get to the position where, if you're on the racetrack and you're driving it, this is the perfect strategy call for you, because you know you're the fastest driver. There is no question that the 94's got this field covered if it goes his way. And I think he's hoping and praying a ton for luck. But if he's this lucky, I need Bagnell Phillip, if he wins this race, to get on a plane and go to Las Vegas with me, because, well, I just want him to spend my money.
So far, it's been a good night. It's been a good year for Bagnell. Again, the best car of the evening so far, but maybe on the wrong end of the strategy. So we will see if the 94 can continue to hang on, because any sort of blip, he'll get swallowed up. There's, I think 4 or 5 different guys that have been hanging out up front all night long, even some that haven't led laps, right? We talk a lot about Kostowitz. He's 3rd, Davis in 4th. He's been around. Harris has been hanging around as well. You got Casto and Schall plus 11 and 23 spots respectively. They've raced their way up into the top 8 as well. So a lot of drivers sitting there just hanging out, being a part of the conversation, because you never know what is going to happen late at the Monster. Pace car going to be down and in this time. Field in the hands of Bagnell Phillip, who once again elects for the inside. 17 lap old tires for most of the field. A couple of cars who pitted. 30th on back. Green flag back in the air.
Perfect restart for the 94 of Bagnell Phillip. He was able to kind of set sail there. He did what you said. He spreaded his wings. He's starting to go. Go time's kind of now if you're the drivers with 1 set of tires remaining in the pits, because if we do stay green, you want that green flag pit stop to be you cycling back out front, not somebody jumping you potentially, because then you can't necessarily push it that hard, because you don't have anything else to give. All you have is a hope and a prayer that we get a caution with 2 to go, and tires mean nothing. Is, oh, your pick's around.
Grant Davis is up against the inside wall, and he had help as yellow flag number 6 on the night has come out. And you can see the chaos there. The 24 car fighting with the, was it the 20 to Harris, and then kind of lost the spot. Let's see. And I don't know if it's the 24 coming down, Terry, or if it's the 66 coming up right there. There's a battle, clear, and he comes back down, but there's a car low. And there's the touch that says the 24 round, and then a couple of them pile on in.
Yeah, you got to listen to the spotter. That's a big key here in iRacing. I don't think he expected him to be there that quick. I mean, you got to make that move. I know we said it last week at Talladega too. You have to make the moves. I would put that as just a racing deal, as if, you know, if you don't necessarily go down there and close that door's going to stay wide open and you're going to fall back a ton. The outside lane's been decent, but it has not been great. It just stinks that he got taken out there. He was definitely one of the drivers that I would have thought, if the strategy went against the 94, that he potentially could have worked that 20 over. Kind of hard to think that a 4-time champ could get worked over that well, but these cars are a little bit different than, you know, than what he won his championships in, and he just hasn't looked like Agnell Phillip. Like, he hasn't looked as strong and as stout as he's been early on in the season when he got his win at Texas. I don't know. I think now this kind of opens the door for Kosowitz. It opens the door for Harris. I don't think the 66 has the speed. I think he just got good track position here.
Nobody claiming that one either, so that one's going to go to take a second peek, and I don't know, maybe the consecutive yellow is a good thing for Agnell Phillip because it can't establish any sort of set strategies right now. When you have so many yellows, there's so many opportunities for drivers to get off cycle with one another when they make their pit stops. But right now, Agnell Phillip enjoying the life up front as we'll pace around here. 81 laps to go in this Monster Mile 200. That one was the 6th yellow flag of the afternoon. And Terry, we've seen those kind of 30-lap magic number runs be the place to be. But second half of the race, sometimes it opens up. Right now, it doesn't look like that's the case. Looks like it's tightening up. Drivers making more mistakes, giving less room, and leading to more incidents.
Yeah, I mean, the later we get to this race, the more the intensity level picks up. And it's the one thing about RSR is, if you give any driver in this field just a fraction of an inch, they're gonna take, you know, the entire tape measure. They don't really care. I mean, they show you respect when you show it to them, and at the end of the day, you have to get as many spots as you can get on these restarts, because it's very tough to pass. And it's not just because of the next gen car, it's the talent level that's over here. Quite a bit of drivers that have came from this series all the way into contender or road to pro to contender to the Coke series. Most of them started over here, so the level of competition just never goes away. You never necessarily come in and go, I could probably win this race because this person isn't here. But I don't know if this is working in Agnell Phillip's favor or not, because this could easily calm down at any moment. I mean, we could string out a run if they really wanted to, but they're kind of playing into it, playing against it at the same time.
TBD on which of the strategies will work out. Gregory Shaw, for example, well, he's been down pit road 5 times, hasn't taken tires every one of them, but has had a bit of a rougher road to get to P5, whereas everybody else, with the exception of Shaw and Phillip, inside of the top 18, have pitted twice, and both of those trips were for 4 tires, so they still have 8 additional 2 sets left to go. What is the complexion of the final 80 laps going to look like? Pace car bows out. Agnell Phillip sticks with what he knows. He'll be on the inside as the control car Freenash up top. We're back underway.
Big snake throughout field. Phillip gets away. Kosowitz still sits back side by side with Cody Harris, but not for long. The 66 of Shaw, he takes a peek underneath. You see the big old gap that's there, that's spread out. Now Kosowitz, he wants to look under Freenash. Not necessarily the person I want to poke this early or late in the race, however you want to look at it. I wouldn't want to try to uproot him right now.
Look at him snake off of 2 and now back down into turns 3 and 4. Race leader is actually a bit of a gap that's 7th or 8th before you see the funny, and race leaders single file out a good bit. Greenosh on the back bumper of Agano Phillip, but again, still unable to contest the challenge.
I'm not sure he wants to contest the challenge here. I think he's... I mean, we've got into the mind of Andrew Greenosh quite a bit this year. And the one key that I've circled from him is he likes the patient game. He seems kind of a take it, chill, relax for a little bit, and then figure out as we go. But I mean, he hasn't shown necessarily dominating pace, but he hasn't necessarily shown that he's not a top 3 car. He's kind of been right here, just mired himself holding this train up of, I'm going to save my stuff. I'm going to ride, kind of relax. Kozowitz wants to go, which I get that. Everybody in here wants a chance to lead this race, but it's going to be interesting to see, does the 20 get aggressive as we go? As you looked, Matt Danson riding in 6th, got Sam Nieto in the Apple Pie Old Smoky Mustang driving up there, and I'm still waiting on him to ship me a big old bottle of that.
Can't remember the last time that, I've seen the top 4 just kind of stick like this on a short track. I mean, sure, we've had big movement. Reference Shaw, Harris has made a charge, Kolb, some other names, but I mean, the 24 was one of them. He wrecked out of it, so that's a bit of an exception. But Harris and Kostowitz have just been there the whole time, and it's like they're so even with the cars in front. All they need is an opening. All they need is a mistake, and they're going to pounce. But maybe they're all playing that patient game, knowing that Phillip's a set of tires short. Just keep the pressure on him, let him be aggressive, lead, eat up his tires. But those top 4 have been mighty impressive to me tonight, as behind them a battle for 5th begins to brew as Matt Danson trying to chip away from the poor run he had earlier, in which he dropped about 9 spots from the race lead. He makes a pass now back to P5.
Yeah, and it didn't come without some controversy. Him and the 66 made contact. I don't think Shaw really wanted him to get by, so he kind of drove and pinched him on the door. And I said it last season, Matt Danson's not one of those drivers that you want to make angry during a season, because you have to race with him all season long, and he can make your life quite miserable as the battle for 3rd heats up. And no surprise here with Cody Harris. And I'll say it again, he is quite literally one of the best drivers in RSR competition, and for him to get his first win at Bristol, a very tough, difficult racetrack with concrete on it, to understand the discipline that it takes to race on the concrete. He figured it out before anybody else did. Now he finds himself at Dover running top 4, and has not let the 3 leaders in front of him get away, and also hasn't let Matt Danson start to close in. They've just been very patient back there, and he's searching for a groove, searching for something different that everybody else is doing. He's went up about a quarter of a lane up off the bottom to try to diamond his way in.
Trying to use the banks, the dips, the climbs of the surface here at the Dover Motor Speedway to their advantage. As the 28 looks high, he'll have to hold another yellow this time. It's on the back, and Nick Alford is around.
All right, hear me out here for a second after the replay. And that was a big help. It was at the 56. Yeah, it just turns it. That 56 driven Richard Wolfsire, I keep saying that right, just got it. Wolfifer, that's how you say it. Hey, it took me a second to get it, but hear me out. Hit here.
I'm hearing you out. Go for it. Let's get the spiel.
Hit right here. People should pit. No matter where you're at in the field, if you pit, which a lot of drivers are, you pit here. If we get the caution, 30 laps to go, you take that last set of tires, but you take advantage of them right now. take advantage of them as we run, it forces the leaders into your strategy, because if we get another caution, they're going to have to pit, or they're going to fall behind a Cody Harris, a Nieto, a Kosowicz pitted, Phipps, Burt, Lariah, Dunkelberger, Cato. That's from 17th on back just pitted. So if you put that in there, it didn't take Agnell Phillip long to drive through this field on fresh tires. It'd be 37 lap newer tires than the rest of this field. Take a run for it. You know, throw that gauntlet out there to them, that if they can drive past all of them, get a good run, if they can fit 30 laps into it, their track position would have then flipped. Cool, everybody else pits. Well, you're done with tires at that moment, unless you get a green-white checker, you get a late race caution, in which tires really would mean nothing if you could pin them back 10 or 11 spots.
I think the call would make sense for all of those with a bonus stop, because if you get another 30 laps, right, our magic number, you're going to want to come again. I think the fact that Freenosh, Jansen, Shaw, Weinmaster don't pit plays into the hands of Phillip, because now they're probably, I mean, they got 2 sets of tires available still, but you know, if they pit with 50, 40 to go, that's better for Phillip than them pitting, you know, at 65 to go and 30 to go. So I think the fact that not everybody came down helps Agnell just a little bit. Not as good as if it just went green, but I don't think this is bad either for the race leader.
No, I mean, you're absolutely correct. But I looked down. Wolsifer did not pit. So he gets caught in that. He doesn't come down pit lane there. You got Davis back there with 17 laps on his tires. He's not going to be able to force the issue. He has potentially 1 set of tires left in the pits, because I would imagine after the spin he took a set of 4, so that puts him with 1 left. He cannot pit again until the rest of the leaders come in. We get the 30-lap run. If you look at the drivers who are, you know, now I think, yeah, he's going to drop to the end. He's going to claim responsibility for that yellow flag, go to the end of the line. So that puts Spencer Kosowicz in 16th. If he could get to the lead, and all of these drivers who just pitted will have 40 lap fresher tires than the race leader or the leaders, if they can flip this track position and we see the 10 drivers who decided to come down and pit, who are still on the lead lap, can jump these drivers right here, in which it's a good possibility. 40 laps on tires versus no laps on tires. You could then pit with them, come out in front. I don't think that on an equal playing field they're just going to drive through the field all willy-nilly. And then if the caution comes back out, if it does, which who knows, it really won't matter at that moment that, oh, well, every driver did this, because, well, they're going to have to drive through the field again.
We've seen Agnell Phillip do it once, but it was not without near incident. A couple of accidents happened right in and around him as he was making that charge. That is always an additional deterrent to giving up the track position. Your top 15 cars stay out, 16th on back, fresh tires. Notables: Sam Nieto, Cody Harris, and Co. But up front, the old tire brings it to the green flag as Agnell Phillip gets a good jump again. Danson, quick slice down to the inside. He'll go underneath the 20 of Andrew Freenosh. The battle's going to be for second as Freenosh shakes him off.
Yeah, and Agnell Phillip needed that run, as caution flag will wave once more. As there's Cato, he spins, and I guess the caution, yeah, there it goes. Now the caution flag's out. He gets spun. He was eaten. That's probably why the caution came out. He threw it there, but that was a good restart for Cody Harris. He gained a couple positions, put him up to 14th. So the first car on fresh tires will be there in P14. And take a look at the replay when they come across the line. He had fresh tires, but what caused it? Oh, well, they were wrecking in front of him, and Kosowicz gets turned. So the fresh tires were wrecking themselves.
Yeah, when we talk about the urgency to get through the field, Spencer Kosowicz has had such a good night. And right there, a little bit of impatience, I think. Tried to go 3 wide right away. There wasn't not a car length of space, Terry, but you kind of need a little bit more than a car length to make the move. And he's kind of shoved it up the middle there and took out the double O machine to Tucker, and Kostowitz has had such a good night, but that's not going to help at all.
I'm not going to say inexperience, but that's sometimes a lack of inexperience and impatientness. You're going to want to take the move, but you just took the move at your expense. You didn't take the move at anybody else's. It took people with them, but that was just a mistake that shouldn't have happened. You know, you take that run, you take that run, and you run the risk of what just happened, which is, you know, a big incident that takes place, and people get wrecked and become collateral damage. But this is once again playing in the factor of our race leader. But something that we completely overlooked is Joseph Tice. Had the car bounce off him about 2 or 3 cautions ago. He came down for 4 fresh tires. He's sitting in 7th. He has 28 laps on his tires, still fresher than the race leaders, but slowly but quietly climbing his way through this field. We'll be interested to see if he can get that done.
No claim either in that scenario means we will continue on under the yellow flag. And tough break again for some notable names that had good nights going. Question, you know, was it the right time? Was it the wrong time to come down to the pit lane? Well, they end up in an accident, maybe at their own fault. But that doesn't necessarily happen, right? You're not in a position to be aggressive and put it 3 wide, Terry, if you're in second. So all of these actions have equal and opposite reactions. You take the pit stop, you get the fresh tires, you got to be aggressive. It's exactly what we saw there, and just a little bit of a step over the line as we trickle in now to the final 60 laps of this race.
Yeah, it'll definitely, it's going to be very interesting to see what is going to happen as we continuously just push on here. The unfortunate part of all of the strategies that are out here is it's only helping one person. It's helping the race leader. Everybody else's strategy that just continuously keeps rolling is, well, you ain't doing nothing but hurting it. Like, you're just hurting your chances to win. And now it'll be like, oh, can we roll on through the rest of this day? Can we get the final 60 laps off the board as quickly as possible, or we're just going to continuously have problems?
Lights out. We do the dance again. This most recent one, caution flag number 8 of the afternoon. Mentioned earlier tonight, the number was 6 in 2022. Terry, your bold bet of going to the casino and betting on the caution-free race. Well, it's a good thing that it's just a virtual casino and you couldn't make your way over there. We also, because of that, just the way things have played out, we've certainly had a lot of pit strategy, but no opportunities to see the green flag pit stops we had referenced earlier either.
I definitely would have enjoyed to see a good green flag pit stop. These are, you talked about it being a tricky pit road. It brings out the best of times and the worst of times in drivers when they're trying to get down and slow their way off the back straightaway through the corners. But my pick's still in it. My pick's still doing pretty good. Yours is all the way back in 15th. So it looks like I potentially could be walking out of here again with the race pick next week.
Funny how it works out, right? We'll see if it can maintain through the final third of this race. Philip has to stay consistent. He does it again. He's been oh so good on those race starts. Tonight, it's another good jump to turn 1. Philip will lead Freenash, who leads Danson 1, 2, and 3 single file.
It's good to see that Freenash isn't necessarily trying to force the issue there on a lot of these restarts. He's just kind of playing around, tiptoeing. But the one thing that we're going to be careful of is we go 3 wide once again is the drivers on fresh tires trying to work their way through the field. The patience is gone. That has been pretty evident since we dropped the green flag after they pitted, is patient level 0. So can we stay patient enough to ride our way through the end? And fresh tires aren't necessarily climbing through this field like I thought they would either. I talked about Cody Harris. He got his way up to the 14th position. He lost a spot. He dropped his way back down to 15th. So now the first car on fresh tires is David Kolb in the 99. He puts himself to 13th position. Can he work his way through this field as he's going to get around Castro there on the outside? The biggest key, go where they're not. And right now the 99 is. He's going all the way up to the outside lane.
All the way to the very outside lane there is, you see the 66 Gregory Shaw, middle of the road. He's your biggest mover tonight currently, plus 23. Just a sliver of the plus 22 positions, now 21. The Minotzi Major holds his Major and Call battle a little bit further on back. And admittedly, Terry, my brain still hasn't, the autopilot part of my brain still hasn't picked up when Andrew Freenosh in the 20 cars there that it's Andrew, right? Always kind of double check the number. That's him, right? I mean, it's a good looking Elliott Sadler Esports Ford. Don't get me wrong, but obviously having driven the 88 for all of those championship seasons, it still takes a little minute. Agnell Phillip, the A51 Pro, pretty iconic at this point, and two of the very best are going at it right here, right now, as Freenosh goes underneath the 94 car. Battle for the race lead is on at 53 to go.
Four-time champ and defending champ on the outside lane. Four-time down to the bottom. He's going to try to make it work. Respect was a big word that pops out when you talk to Andrew Freenosh, is that he knows he's here on a part-time basis, but he's just here to collect checkered flags. He's not here to rough anybody up or wreck anybody. He's just here to win. Second is a loss. He keeps the bumper to the inside, puts it on the door. But this is going to allow Matt Danson of the 38 to work his way back up here and maybe potentially try to claim this win as Steve Tucker's back around. That should bring out caution number 7?
Number 9.
Number 9. I'm 2 off. I can't count past 3.
I'm cheating. I got the list. It will take away the battle for the race lead from us. Let's see what happened. A lot of race cars and started there, and then they're wrecking up the field. How many wrecks was that at one time?
2. That's 2 wrecks. Pooler gets wrecked up there. You see it up in the distance coming off the corner. Pooler gets kind of bent out of shape, and then everybody else piles into him there. How many times have we seen the 71 of Carl Pooler wrecked?
He's been in a couple of them, including a claimed caution, a lot number 35 of this race.
He was
so
our first caution.
Yeah, he was involved in the first one, claimed the second one. It's been a long night for Carl Pooler.
Still resilient though. He's still out here running 24th. Has a chance. I mean, he's on. Once again, the fresh tire guys are weeding themselves out. Fresh tires only got up to 9th. So if you're counting at home, we put a good bit of laps down, and fresh tires moved up to the 9th place position with the 99. Cody Harris didn't have a whole lot there. He stayed in the 12th position. It has this has worked perfectly in favor of this driver, the 94 of Agnell Phillip. I think he's very content to stay on the racetrack and not come down pit road. Just save those tires for as long as he can.
I think the other concern is, right, he's gotten this set to last as long as he needed it to. He didn't get to this point like I think how he preferred, how we thought he would need it to. We were pretty certain, he's going to need, green flag runs. I think he should have pitted. The issue is the cars that pitted 17 laps ago are close. Kolb, Harris, Dunkelberger, Lariah, Schmidt, they're all up to 7th. And they've got 40 lap newer tires. That's not insignificant. Of course, the challenge is, well, we're having so many yellows that it's going to be that much more difficult to make your way through the field. But I don't know. The cars that pitted a couple pit cycles ago, they're knocking on the door, and I'd be sweating if I'm these top 3 because sure, you're the class of the field, but are you 40 lap older tires better than the rest of those guys? I'm not sure.
I mean, if the cautions keep falling the way that they are, I mean, haven't necessarily seen a decent enough run for the tires to even play a factor. I mean, everybody's weeding their way out. It's not these drivers are necessarily going out there making a ton of passes, making a ton of spots up in turn one. It is they're getting loose. Drivers are smacking the wall. They're checking up. Those drivers are getting around them. These drivers here are just running as much as possible to get up front and to stay up front. But I'm with you. I think if I was the rest of this field, if I was a good portion of this field, why not just come down pit road here, rip that Band-Aid off? You still have one set of tires remaining, and you also have the fastest cars in the field. So why not just take this opportunity to come pit, figure out the strategy, and force the other drivers who pitted 18, 19 laps ago in a box to go, well, guess what? We're on equal playing field now, and now we're ahead of you in the strategy. You have one set of tires remaining, we do as well. We'll pit at the same time and call it even.
I still think this would have been the number. I don't think it's a bad idea to do it the next time. Survey would suggest that it's going to happen again soon, but I don't know. The cars who pitted most recent, right? That group on 18 lap or so older tires. Well, they pitted back after the lap 132 yellow flag in this race, but it was a pretty decent chunk of the field that pitted, right? About half the field came in. They ended up at about the high 20s, low 20s. It's taken them about 20 some odd laps and 3 yellow flag cycles to get to the top 5. If you put on your own, you're going to go much further back than low 20s. You're going to go mid 30s. Time's running out. I think if you're going to pit, you got to do it pretty soon, but we'll see as we get set for the restart. Let's go down track side, take in the sights and sounds of Dover Motor Speedway. Green flag in the air. 39 laps to go in the Monster Mile 200. You got the perspective from down track side of all of the midfield action as they continue to rip and roar around this virtual Dover Motor Speedway. The top two have checked on out. We've talked about the threat of the cars on fresh tires. Both Cody Harris and David Kolb on nearly 37 lap new tires have made their way to third and fourth position, but right now their lap times only equaling that. Phillip and Freenosh in another yellow.
Right when we started talking, and this is why we probably should have stayed in fan immersion right there. I think where the jinx is now. This is the perfect time to come take the tires and horses everybody else.
Looked like the 9 of Winemaster had come down a little bit late. Kostowitz had all the momentum in the world. Probably could have lifted Terry, but 9 car probably could have not come down. I think just, people fighting for position, trying to point and shoot off the corner there. Let's see, though, as the field paces into 3 and 4, does anybody else dare pit with only 35 laps left in this race? Your race leaders have been out there with 68 laps on the tires. The freshies have caught up to them. Do they come down? They do. Harris, Kolb stay out, but all the old tires are coming in now. And Agnell Phillip has lucked out. He will burn his final set of tires in sync with the rest of the race leaders that he was running with.
This is going to get fun because once timing cycles, once this cycles in, there wasn't a whole lot that pitted. They're going to be deep in this field. Very, very deep in this field. 22nd is where I'm currently scoring Agnell Phillip. 23rd. They're going to have to come through this field really quick. Because if we get another caution, if we go 15 laps in a caution, the rest of this field comes down in pits. Well, that I'm not sure that's going to bode well here.
It may, just may, be too little too late. But I think they kind of put themselves in that box and there was not much else they could have done. The freshies had caught up behind them. They all had tires to kill. I think it was inevitable, but Nick Alford, Agnell Phillip, Andrew Freenosh, the lead cars just off of pit road. Phillip and Freenosh, of course, the leaders of those who just took 4 tires. 23rd on back. One more car trickles in. 22nd on back. I mean, that's a long way to go, Terry. And if we assume that those 34 laps are going to be anything like the last 34 that we've had, well, in the last 34 laps of this race, we've had 4 yellow flags for just about 15 laps of yellow. So your actual number, if that pace continues, is almost half of that, where you'll actually be able to try to pass cars.
Yeah, and this makes my head hurt. My voice already hurts. Your voice hurts. Josh's voice hurts. We're all trying to get through this, and they throw a strategy wrench at us here that is gonna make us crunch a couple numbers, because the top 20 stayed on the racetrack. All right, so that put 5, 6-ish cars that was riding up front came down and pitted. If we can go 15 laps at max on this green flag run, or we stay green to the end, and then I still think that this is one of the top 20s races to lose. I don't see Agnell Phillip necessarily driving through the field that quick. I mean, he's got a couple roadblocks up there. He's got a couple drivers with 19 laps on their tires, 18. There's a couple mixed strategies. And you go all the way up to 34, 35-ish. If you're Cody Harris, you don't want to see a caution. If you're Agnell Phillip, you need at least one more caution to put yourself up here. Not saying he can't do it, but it took him about 20 laps to get back to the front on that initial run, but it was a lot more on the tires than what we had. I think you want to see this go green to the end if you're the field.
The cars back there are certainly going to need the time to do it. So now the cars who had the freshest of tires no longer with the advantage. Harris at Kolb, 35 lap old tires. There's a couple of cars in the mid-teens on 18 lap old tires. And the cars on freshies led by Phillip and Freenosh, 22nd on back. Green flag in the air. 32 laps to go at the Dover Motor Speedway. And Cody Harris enjoying his first lap sled of the afternoon. Lariah gets around Kolb for P2.
Yeah, he'll get around right there for that second place position. And what an upset this could be if we see Michael Lariah get this race win. He's going to have to pass a decently fast Cody Harris to get it done. Dunkelberger worked his way up here as the caution flag waves again. That is Matt Danson going backwards to turn this thing around.
Danson, one of the cars who had ran so strong, took the tires, found himself back in traffic, went 3 wide, and it all fell apart. Man, was that a slight touch that turned into a big mess.
I mean, this is the sad reality of this. Light touches create big problems, and it just so happened to be both of our picks.
Danson obviously involved in that one. Grant Davis, as mentioned. Jaron Windmaster, Carl Pooler involved in his 48th accident of the night. He got just a minor piece of that. This one wasn't his fault. He was just simply behind it. But what we referenced earlier, Agnell Phillip got off cycle earlier in the race, nearly got caught up in an accident. This time it's nearly again. He avoids it. He's okay, but again, just goes to continue to show the risk of what happens when you go back in traffic. And well, Joseph Tice had the oldest tires out of anybody, 60 lap old tires. He comes down pit road all on his lonesome. Again, I just think a little bit too late. And somebody jokingly says over the radio, Joseph, where are you going? We're done pitting. So he's on his own and is going to go all the way to the rear.
This is this race just kind of went up on its head because I mean, this is working in favor of Cody Harris. This is working in favor of the drivers who decided to stay out. Because we're just clicking laps now. I mean, that's all we're doing is just we're burning laps up, which would be less time for the drivers with fresh tires to catch them. But I mean, for Joseph Tice, I don't know why he pitted there.
Well, I think I've solved the case. All we need to do is go race spot fan immersion on the next restart. We'll be fine. I think we are the problem. It's not like a Dylan Coyle direct jinx, but it's just a vibe of talking, I think.
I like that idea. Like I said, my voice hurts. 8 or 7 races at Orange County this weekend. Was not the easiest, and luckily I get a month break. I don't go back out to a racetrack until June, which is that'll be 14 races in 2 days that I have to call.
Ooh.
Yeah, Friday, Saturday shows, Carolina Pro Late Model and Crate Mod Series, and we call the from start to finish of the racetrack. So race time starts at 7, and I won't be done until midnight on night 1, and then race time is at 7 the next night. I won't be done till midnight. So I get very, very little break.
I get tired calling one RSR race every 4 weeks. Pace car off it in. Let's see how they shake this one out, and let's do it again. Let's take in the sights and sounds of Dover Motor Speedway. 27 laps to go for Cody Harris. Well, caution at lap 174.
So it wasn't
and the
us.
myth is busted.
Yeah, it wasn't us this time, and it's the you. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to put a pin on what I was about to say. I got in trouble the last time I said it, but
You brake checked yourself there on that one.
I did, because if I said what I wanted to say, I probably would have gotten in trouble for it. So yeah, I'll put a pin in that one. All this is doing at the moment, yeah, Agno Phillip got 14th there, but it's not giving him the opportunity to work those fresh tires in. He's just green flag and go for a quarter of a lap. And I mean, he's made up 6 spots, but he's only made up 6 spots because they've wrecked in front of him.
Tough break for the 2 car there. Contact with Spencer Kostowicz puts him into the outside wall. That one's going to snowball into a bigger mess, and big Bristol dirt energy. We had 3 yellows in the opening 61 laps of this race. Since then, in the last 61 laps of the race, we have had 8 caution flags from that point. So tough break for these guys who are just trying to limp it home to the end. And again, I would think that the yellows are bad for the cars on fresh tires, Terry, but Phillip avoids it. Freenosh avoids it. They're 13th and 14th. I mean, they're burning daylight, but they're getting there.
Slowly but surely. And you talked about that we're burning laps, and there's long caution laps. I mean, this is, we go, what, 3 laps at a time under caution? If we continuously keep doing this, in which it seems like that we are, we're going to be on a downward spiral of, we're just going to continuously keep putting pace laps under here. We can call this the pace lap 200 at Dover. But they still got some tough drivers to pass. Dunkelberger's not moving over for you. Like that's not going to happen. William Schmidt isn't moving over for you. I would almost bet my left toe that Michael O'Ryan and Bradley Burke aren't moving over for you either. So while you might have the fresh ones, you got a lot of people in front of you that don't care about you being on fresh tires.
Yeah, they are absolutely not inclined to be of assistance in any way.
If I lose my left toe tonight, I'm gonna go take theirs.
Well, we know that the turning the mics off isn't the magic trick, as we get set to put caution flag number. Let me do some quick math here for you guys. Caution flag number 12 on the afternoon behind us.
Shit.
This one will have 23 laps to go. Still a lot up for grabs at the front. Cody Harris looking to hang on for the win. David Kalb, Dunkelberger, Lariah Schmidt haven't led a single lap tonight, but they're in the mix. And he got the heavy hitters in Freenosh and Phillip on fresh tires in 13th and 14th. Green flag in the air, 23 laps to go.
You see right there, this might have been a little bit of a detriment here for the 94 and the 20. They just got hung up, and they're still hung up. Freenosh is going to try to take it 3 wide, I don't know if that's necessarily going to work. We'll find out here in just a second if we see a caution or not. He's going to jump and leapfrog Agnell Phillip for the time being. And yeah, that could have been the move for the win. If the 20 is able to work through this field, as you see the, I'll say it, the usual caution suspects right there in that pack that have been around multiple times here tonight. If they just keep it at bay and oh, just kidding.
I kind of want to blame that one on you, but admittedly I can't.
Yeah. Well, we'll take a look here at the replay. I called it. I mean, it's not a slide. It's 71 Carl Pooler get turned again and then turned right back into the field. Who was the driver up there? Just turned right back up into oncoming traffic. It's the 15. Oh gosh.
There were two incidents there. There was the incident with Pooler getting loose on his own and hitting the 9, and then the 15 just lost it.
Just Kevin LePage the field at Dover.
Tough to see which one actually will bring out the yellow. I think the 34 is the one who goes all the way around first. So that would imply that it would be on the 15 of Alfred.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if we could pull the replay back up on that one. I would almost bet that I think it triggered it here. So you see the restart. A little further back there. There we go. Now we're there. So when the caution flag waved, it was because of that incident. I think it would have been on the 71. I think when he went around, that triggered the caution because he caught the wall, and the moment he caught that wall, the caution flag came out, and then the 15 just I don't know what he was doing. I would hope if he watches it back that he would explain that one, because that one was kind of not too sure if not too sure how the timing or the race control would factor into that one, but that was ignorant.
Worth noting that if you look at the top left corner of our screen, you see the timer. Not something that often gets brought up, Terry, fortunately, on these Monday night races, but this race does have a 2-hour time limit, which is down in the single digits. I believe that may be what ends this race effectively.
I'm all too familiar with time. PRL runs it for the truck and Xfinity, and they don't do it for the Cup, but the Cup has seen the time limit get hit a couple times in the PRL Sundays right here on RaceSpotTV. Yeah, we run time limits over there. We have a 50-minute time limit that we have to run off of, and I think we officially turned about more green flag laps in the Xfinity race because we went green to the end. We hit the time limit and turned green flag laps, but I think Cody Harris is in the catbird seat. He might win this race.
We'll see as he tries to put a button on it this time with 18 laps to go in the race. Green flag is back in the air, and it's a good jump for Cody Harris. He has been able to control things since he cycled through to the race lead. The challenge from Freenosh and Phillips still just not there, and now it's Lariah making a move to the inside of David Kolb.
Oh, I wouldn't put a hold on the 20 not being a factor in this, because, well, he's making moves back there. He's got Ross Cato right in front of him. He's sitting 11th at the moment. He got in front of Agnell Phillip, and he was able to hold that spot. But the cars in front of him aren't rolling over for him. It's you see a block there a little further back in the camera shot. Michael Arias keeping the pressure on Cody Harris. 6 minutes to go. Oh, no. Oh, Freenosh was in that. And they're wrecking big. Holy crap.
Another big pile up. Yellow flag is out. Andrew Freenage had some part in that one, but it started up the road from him. I think it was the 18 of Dunkelberger.
Yeah. Into Johnson, up into Freenage, and then George tags in. Nowhere for Kyle Trudell to go. Nowhere for any of the drivers to go, and that just turned into a parking lot really quick. There was nowhere for anybody to go past that one once the 18 made contact there, and then bam, bam, bam. And luckily for, Mara almost had it cleared and then just got popped. Or as the kids say nowadays, mollywopped. At least I think that's what they're saying. Woodruff didn't even slow down. He days of thunder at this bad boy. Then he slows down.
Just looking at the math, each yellow tends to have about 3 full laps of pacing. It's a minute and 20 seconds a pop. So minute 20 to 40, 4 minutes. There are 4 minutes and 16 seconds on the clock, Terry. I am not sure if this race will restart.
I think if it does, it's 1 lap. And I got a funny message. I'll read this out loud. I don't care what this race has kind of went south. If you go back to Talladega 1 week ago, there was a bit of I wouldn't say stupid block, but it was a very aggressive block to say the least. And well, the race leader Cody Harris is the one who threw said stupid block, and he threw it on the one who sits P2. Don't forget the one lap to go. Our friends over at Roadhouse Esports said if Lariah going to take some revenge against Cody Harris for his hero block last week? That would be entertaining. I think that would that would definitely not be a shock. As wow, pace lights are out.
Pace lights out pretty quick.
Did you hit the exclamation point? No?
I did nothing.
It did nothing. Well,
let it ride.
Down on us. Yeah, they might be wanting to set up a little revenge tour for the 44 in the Sim Speed Shop Camaro here.
Given how long a normal lap takes here at Dover, if it goes green, we may get all of the 7 laps to go that'll be remaining when we come by to the start-finish line. If there's a yellow, that will certainly end the race at that point and put another night in which Miles the Monster is the only one having a good time out of its misery. Pace car going to be in this time. Cody Harris has nailed the last 5-6 restarts. He just needs one more. All he needs is one more, and he's going to be able to claim victory here in the Monster Mile 200. He's on the inside. Lariah's on the outside. Green flag in the air.
Yeah, all you need is one restart, and technically all you need is love. As the classic song says, as he nails the restart, but the 44 Lariah, it didn't go away. Is this the revenge tour I talked about? He's going to take a peek to the inside here. Is he going to get the pass complete? Maybe wash up a little bit, get in the door, maybe door bang it. As we're coming to a minute to go, he bounces off of him a little bit. Can he get him clear?
Lariah doing everything he can. They're 3 wide for third behind as the 99 Cobb goes up in the middle. But the battle for the race lead continues. Lariah sideways. There they go. The 99 David Cobb goes around. And it is going to be a monstrosity of an accident in turn number 3 that'll wrap this one up.
Yeah, this race is over. And that is a win for Cody Harris. Unlike his Ohio State Buccaneers, he can actually win. But it started with the 3 wide right here. Cobb pushes down on Phillips' door. And then the 95 of Burke just comes down, gets the 99, tags him in. Everybody else piles in behind him. Tice gets turned. Winemaster's turned. Papanow gets into it. This is a fitting way to end the race.
I wish that we could track the pace car laps led.
I think the pace car has led its second highest amount of laps here tonight.
Well, there's 15 yellows. If we assume that the pace car leads, what, 3 laps at least every time, 3-4 laps, then you got 15, 30, 45, anywhere from 45 to 60 laps led. So Agnell's going to squeak it out because Agnell's got 116 led, but certainly the second most.
Clearly, I mean, hands down, the second most laps led goes to the pace car driver, and I mean, the pace car didn't lead as many laps as I did at the Dillon Motorway under the rain delay when they let me take my soccer mom car, my 2021 Trailblazer around. I found out that you don't have as much grip as you think you do on a real racetrack. But yeah, no surprise that Cody Harris is going to win this race. That strategy paid off. We figured it out, and it only took 15 cautions later to figure out that which strategy was going to claim it. But Agnell Phillip was there. If we would have completed the race, I think Agnell has this hands down.
They will roll through turn number 4. He came into tonight as the highest driver in the standings without a win so far this season. And it is going to be a big one for the A51 Pro X Altus Alliance, who also entered tonight second in the team standings, because Cody Harris is your race winner tonight at Dover Motor Speedway in the Monster Mile 200.
Yeah, if I was him, I would stay behind the pace car, because when that pace car pulls back down, it's going to ask him to cross the start-finish line here. And when it does that, it'll throw this all upside down if the drivers start coming down pit road. It'll do like a quote-unquote mock restart where you have to cross the line for the timing. And I guess he is listening to us because he's hopefully backing it back down. But it'll definitely throw all of our timing into a loop. We don't like that because then we actually have to try to read and or pay attention to the said reading of the timing. But yeah, it'll mock it. You can't pass the pace car once it comes down pit road here. It's the one thing I learned in the PRL. So once it turns down, then you just kind of stay at pace speed and then cross the start finish line, and that officially times us.
So I think the drivers may finish it on their own accord, but race results are official.
Yeah,
in the Monster Mile 200, and Cody Harris is going to park it on the front straightaway. Another strong run for him. Certainly kind of played the quiet strategy game, where I think the leaders kind of fumbled the bag. Things could have been a lot worse for the likes of Agnell Phillip. As we take a look at the full race results, ends up with the P4, Terry, but they just waited too late to pit. Cody Harris nailed it on the last strategy call. He only needed 3 trips down to the pit lane over the course of tonight, and he ends up with another race win.
Yeah, like I said, no surprise at all. Getting his first win at Bristol, and then grabbing another win last season before we wrapped it. And Dover is just suits his driving style and his driving ability. He has a ton of talent. It's fun to watch him on Monday nights. But for Michael Araya coming up here finishing second, and Dunkelberger actually completing a race. I know that sounds cynical, but completing a race in 8th. I won again, finishing 10th, and a couple surprises back here on page 2. Joseph Tice had a bunch of issues. He was able to rise. We never really talked about Manazzi Major at 13th. Whitaker got caught up in a couple issues. I mean, Michael Johnson was destroyed at one point in time. Kalish was our 3rd caution. Fetter Place just got hit by everybody. I mean, your pick, Grant Davis, got hit by everybody but the pace car.
It started good for him, just it didn't end very good.
Yeah, it started great, and then it just sucked for the rest of the race. Carl Pooler seemed to be in every caution. Mara turned a couple people tonight. And he got turned quite a bit. Thomas George was running great, and then just got kicked in the head. And everybody else back here just, well, we never talked about him except for Kozowitz, and he kind of got sold for $15 or $20.
So all that's going to be left in scrap metal on these cars by the time this thing was said and done. But that's a look top to bottom at your full race results tonight from the Dover Motor Speedway. And Terry, we'll give him another moment, but so far nobody standing by trackside to chat with us. And right on cue, we have one taker, and can't wait to hear the takes from tonight's P3 finisher. Let's set you up with Bradley Burke here first.
Oh boy, Brad. Let's pull him. Bradley Burke, how are you, man?
Oh shit.
This is Timmy up here with RaceSpot. What's going on, brother? Well, we lost him, but he cussed more than I did.
And that's the guy who finished third.
He was a man of short words and short tempers.
Well, let's transition to somebody who I think may be a little bit more happy because it is a big race win tonight. But the driver of the number 28 Chevrolet, Cody Harris, is your race winner in the Monster Mile 200. Cody, congratulations on the race win. A bit of an unorthodox way to get there, but the 28 led 28 laps tonight en route to the win.
Yeah, it was a good night overall. There was definitely some fast guys, Agnell, Andrew. Spencer was quick. Matt's always quick. So you just never know. I just tried a little different strategy throughout the race than they did with the limited sets of tires we had, because tires meant a lot, but we didn't quite have enough for as quick as the cautions were going on, which kind of jumbled it up, and it just kind of worked out in my favor tonight.
Yeah, tell us about that strategy, right? We followed the race leaders, 4 sets of tires available to you guys over the course of the race. The story that we were following was the fact that Agnell kind of put himself off cycle with everybody else, raced through the field, and then he only had 1 set left for the second half. While all of that's going on, you sneak down to the pit lane, kind of drive your way through the field, and by the time the guys who had stayed out caught up to that idea, pitted, it was too late, and you kind of took over control there at the end.
Yeah, that was the number of cars that stayed out behind me helped a lot on those last ones. Once I snuck down pit road there, about halfway through. It was kind of interesting. With all the caution laps, the tires kind of cooled off, so they didn't seem like they had lost as much, but it was definitely helping on drive, exit off down the straights where I could work my way back up through there. Then, yeah, I think the key was when Agnell pitted and that group wanted to put me into the lead, and they were just mired back in traffic, and then all the cautions helped out. If it had gone green, I think I might have been in trouble, but yeah, it worked out for tonight.
Over the course of this one, we saw many of those yellows. What do you think contributed to that here at the Monster Mile?
I don't know. It's a pretty tough track. As it got towards the end of the race, there was a lot. Everyone's just trying very hard for positions. I liked it when it went longer because you really had to save your tires or it would get loose. But yeah, I think just the few laps left and everyone trying to get every spot they can led to a lot of the incidents at the end.
Well, 2023 had already been pretty good for you. Came into tonight, couple of top 5s, couple of top 10s, but now that win, how big is that for you, right? Is it the huge thing that it is for, a guy in 20th who gets the win? Or, listen, I've already been running top 3 in points. I mean, how important is the win to you in terms of how you're going to be racing for the rest of the regular season?
Oh, I always want to win. There's definitely several guys that are hard to beat, so I don't win too often, so it's very nice when I do to be able to get a victory. I'd like to win more, but I just keep working on my racecraft to be nice to get a little closer to Agnell, but he's already got a pretty good lead. I wish I've been doing better to this point. I've been running good, but just always haven't got the results with crashes or strategy. But yeah, things are starting to head my direction.
Well, we got a couple of non-points weeks coming up. A week off, an all-star race at North Wilkesboro, then the longest race of the season at Charlotte. What's the outlook at the calendar in May?
Not sure. I think North Wilkesboro will be a lot of fun, and then we'll go from there. But a lot of tracks that I like coming up, so we'll see how that goes.
We appreciate you giving us the time after a long one that went all the way down to the time limit. Cody, what we got you? Anybody you want to say hi to?
Yeah, just all the guys at A51 that have been helping me. Agnell's been a good teammate, been learning a lot from him with Road to Pro and stuff, making a good run there too with those guys. Just a lot of fun racing with people this year, and hopefully we can keep winning and just as a team keep doing well.
We appreciate the time, and we appreciate your racing here on Mondays. Cody, congrats on the win.
Thank you. Thanks for putting this on each week.
It's the driver of the number 28 Chevrolet, and he is the winner of the Monster Mile 200. Cody Harris gets his first checkered flag of 2023 tonight. Terry, we'll see if you have better luck now. We'll try to catch up with some more drivers. Let's go to Michael Laraya this time through P2 on the pylon tonight.
Yeah, nobody ever really wants to talk to me, but we'll see. Michael Araya, what's going on, man?
Hey, Terry. Glad to be in the booth here.
That's a whole lot better response than I got out of Bradley Burke. He said the S word. But that 44 Sim Speed Shop Chevy played the strategy correctly tonight. You got on the back bumper, and you even contended for that win there for a little bit alongside of Cody Harris. Maybe was you thinking maybe use him up a little bit? I had a little birdie in my Twitter DM say that it reminded me of the block he threw on you. Was that in the back of your mind?
So I do like to race people clean. I really try to strive for that, but I feel like I've given Cody some breaks here. So yeah, I was going to use him up. And I kind of did, but I needed to get back to him for that one. And unfortunately, we had another caution there at the end. I just didn't have time to give it another go. So again, I feel like he owes me one. I've raced him clean, and just we've had some run-ins that have resulted in some bad finishes for myself. So definitely was going to push the issue there a little bit.
Well, you come to a difficult racetrack to finish second. We go to, Evan talked about it, an off week next week, and then we go to North Wilkesboro for the All-Star race. Just kind of putting it out there. Are you going to be as aggressive as possible in that All-Star race at North Wilkesboro, or are you just going to kind of be conservative, learn just a little bit more, and then go to Charlotte, have a long race where we will literally be here, quite a bit that night. A little bit longer than we were here.
Well, I think with North Wilkesboro and the All-Star race, it's one of those nights where I feel like if you're typically somebody that maybe lays back a bit, maybe trying to change it up and be more aggressive, or vice versa. And I feel like with that track, it's, for one thing, a really good track, but just the character it has, and I feel like we're going to have some decent tire wear. So I think, you're going to see a more aggressive race, but at the same time, if the field is cut down for the main event, it could definitely go green, and you definitely don't want to abuse your stuff at the same time. So it's going to be a balancing act for sure. But I feel like with North Wilkesboro, with it being a short track, being its own thing, I don't know how much you're going to be able to take over from that race and move it over to Charlotte. So I kind of view them as just two separate weeks, and maybe just use North Wilkesboro as just another test to make sure that you're on your game for the points race at Charlotte.
Well, I appreciate you for talking to us. Thank those sponsors that put that 44 car on the track here.
Yeah, I got to thank Sim Speed Shop for being on board the past couple of years. It's good to finally get a top 5 this season. It's been a while. I've been rattling off top 10s like crazy, but it's nice to get another top 5. And got to thank my teammates, of course, at Flat Out Esports for just putting in work every week to get better and practice as a group. And of course, I got to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast and sticking with us here. I know it's been a long night for not only the drivers, but you guys up in the booth. So appreciate all the work you guys are doing.
It's always good to get recognition. We appreciate you, Michael, and hopefully we talk to you down the road.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir. That's the number 44, Michael Raya. And we'll get Bradley up here in just a moment.
Let's continue on down, and what do we say we try again? Bradley Burke is showing up on the radio. Terry, let's see if we can dial up the 95.
Yo, Bradley Burke, what it do?
You guys got me this time?
Yeah, you know, we enjoyed the first one too.
Yeah, I had a buddy message me, so I want to apologize for the on-air cuss word.
I've said worse. You got P3. Good strategy call. Obviously, top three all pitted 58 laps before the time was called there. You had good speed in the car. What did you really need to get up there and maybe try to pass Cody Harris?
Honestly, I think I just needed to restart in third. I felt pretty good with my restart, so I think I just needed to be on the inside to really have a shot at it. And I struggled getting track position most of the night because once you got into, 20 laps into the tire run, it was pretty hard to pass unless somebody messed up. Everybody was just driving so hard.
Well, we got an off week next week. Are you going to put a little bit more practice time into North Wilkesboro? Or are you going to be running some Kansas?
I'm gonna have to practice some North Wilkesboro because I don't even own the track currently, so I'll be buying that pretty soon and running some laps for sure.
Well, you definitely should buy North Wilkesboro because I hear it's a good time. I don't know. I will go run some laps too. I don't know if I'll be as fast as you guys to go be an all-star, but you never know. Thank those awesome sponsors that put that number 95 out here on the racetrack for us.
Yes, sir. I got to thank Get Wet, of course, for being on the car for another season, the full season. And I got to thank Boosted, Haseeb Design for the awesome paint scheme, and, of course, my team and my teammates for, helping me get faster.
Well, congratulations on P3. We'll see you after the off week for the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro.
All righty. Appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir. That's P3 Bradley Burke. No bleeps that time, Evan.
And I think the off week next Monday going to be well timed, Terry, for a lot of drivers to maybe decompress over a messy night at Dover. Cody Harris breaks through with his first win of the year. We'll enjoy that 1 week hiatus and then an exciting non-points all-star race at North Wilkesboro on May 15th.
Very excited. North Wilkesboro is it's good to see it back. I hope NASCAR doesn't do what they always do and over taint the product. Maybe keep this as a one-off event and then let the trucks run there and don't just come out here and go, yep, we'll put it back on the schedule 100%. But it's good to not run the updated version of North Wilkesboro. It'll be in its original state of when it was scanned. The old tower and all will still be intact. No safer barrier, so hitting the wall, well, it's going to come with a price. So you'll have to tune in May 15th at 9 Eastern Time right here on RaceSpotTV to find out who's the All-Star.
And I'll commit this to you, Terry, as well. If iRacing gives us a new scan or a new build of North Wilkesboro, let's run the old one anyways, right? Why not?
I'm a fan. Run the original. Don't go modern on us. We don't need that.
It'll be an exciting night, and then points racing will resume the week after that on Monday, May the 22nd. That'll be the longest race of the year at Charlotte. But until then, that is it for us here tonight from iRacing's virtual Dover Motor Speedway. For RealSimRacing, all of our partners, RaceSpotTV, and your broadcast team tonight. For our producer, Joshua Lee, for Terry Radford, and myself, Evan Pasoko, saying thanks for tuning in and congratulations to Cody Harris, the Monster Mile 200 winner. We're back in 2 weeks' time on Monday, May 15th, for the RealSimRacing All-Star Race at North Wilkesboro. That race and every race of the Full Throttle RealSimRacing Cup Series can be found exclusively here on RaceSpotTV. Till next time, good night from the Monster Mile.